As you guys know, on the last video, I told you that I had set out to take that $100, that basically the last $100 that I had, and basically build a new life for my family. And I really came on today with the intent of like going straight into marketing, us coming up with marketing materials, doing, I guess you could say, what it's going to take in order for us to be able to get our first, number of clients. The problem with that is I ended up running into a rough patch. And I want to be clear on something. I want to make sure you understand this, that anytime God is calling you out to something, I want you to be fully aware that that does not automatically mean the absence of suffering. It doesn't automatically mean the absence of hardship. I'm a firm believer in the scripture that if you suffer with me, then you should also reign with me. And so, of course, most of us would like it to be that God called us into something. We stepped out in faith and then boom, everything lined up, like that person came into our lives and transformed the way we were thinking, and money came pouring in and all of those things. So let me be clear about a few things. Firstly, this is not a wealth journey. This is not an opportunity for me to talk to you about how to put yourself in the best position to buy your first house or to buy a car this is truly a faith journey, not a wealth journey. It's my son, but a faith journey. So I want you to be extremely clear on that, right? This is all about us giving ourselves totally to God and allowing him to take our lives in whatever direction it is that he would have them go in. So I know for many of you, you may be in the same situation that I'm about to express to you happened to me. And so I don't want you to think, because you're going to see this house as I walk through and record other videos and do certain things. I don't want you to think that this is a guy recording a video who's coming from money, right? Let me pick him up. I don't want you to think that this is a guy recording a video that's coming from money. I want you to understand that this is somebody who literally was given a word by God to let go of everything that I had considered to be life, right? I guess you could say I had a real big ego when it came to my ability to provide for my family. But I started to realize that that river was running dry. No matter how hard I worked, things weren't coming through. No matter how much I tried to make things happen, they weren't. And I'm $1 million writer in sales, which you'll learn. I feel like you'll learn more about my journey as in my story as time goes on. But I also want you to understand, as I said, like, this is not our house. Like, we're literally staying with family right now. We lost the house. And right after I recorded that video, the last video you saw, I was at Home Depot and I was buying the materials for me to get started in this process. And our car got towed. So I'm literally in a position where I could have said, you know what, this is not the route that God said go. I need to find something else to do. And I know for many of you, you probably feel like that. You probably feel like this isn't what God said. This isn't the route that you should take. Maybe there's something else that you should do. But I want you to understand that following God is not the absence of suffering. Right? Sometimes doing God's will is going to take you down paths that's going to leave you in positions where you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how God even said that thing to you because nothing around you speaks that same message. And as much as I wanted to, go in the way of logic and just say, you know what, screw this. I'm going back to work. I am going to make sure that I'm in a position to provide for my family. God confirmed the word that this is the path that he wanted me to go on. And so, what is it, Bubba? And so for me, it's important that I stay this journey. And he let me know, if I'm honest, that it would not be easy when I started this journey. I was fully aware of that. I just didn't think that these would be the hardships that I would face. And I really contemplating even coming on here telling you guys this, because a lot of times I was thinking this morning when we have hardships or certain types of hardships, your truth isn't shameful. It's not a shameful thing that you don't have a place to stay right now. It's not a shameful thing that you don't have a job or you don't have a car or you can't make ends meet. It's not a shameful thing that you have no family to turn to. This is all about building absolute reliance and trust upon your creator. And so I didn't want to come from a place of shame and not tell you something, because that, in my opinion, is more weak than me actually coming on here telling you what's truly going on and you seeing God allow me to persevere through this. And so I wanted to tell you guys that as much as I wrestled with it, what had happened, how it had happened, and it's affecting everybody. My wife's the one holding the camera right now. And I can pan and show you, spin and show you her. But she's the one holding the camera right now. And little man. And little mama is in the back asleep right now. I'll show you her as time goes on. But I guess it's gonna sound a little crazy, but I guess, all of us in our own right, me and my wife is specifically, are really just trying to see God and not so much his hand. Yes, he owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. Yes, he gives us the power to accumulate wealth. Yes, he wants to make us the head and not the tail, the lender and not the borrower. But it's really about seeing God's heart concerning his people. Because I feel like a lot of us have forgotten what it means to have faith in him and truly trust in him and truly rely on him and truly put him first, delighting ourselves in the Lord and allowing him to add everything else that we need to our plate. We seek everything in order to get something. But we don't necessarily seek things for fulfillment. And I feel like that's more of what this journey is than anything else. It's a faith walk. It's for me to gain that better and see God in the land of the living, see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. So I wanted to go ahead and put all of my business out there. You'll learn more about, because that's not it. Like, I need you to understand, like, I didn't come from money. I'm an ex-felon. I'll explain more about those types of things as time goes on, but it already has not been easy. My journey in my life has not been easy. So this call came at a time where I felt like it was the most inconvenient. It didn't make sense. It still doesn't quite make sense if you try to put it against logic. But it is what God said. And I know it's what God said because of the way things have began to come together. Although it looks like they're falling apart, right? So what's more challenging, me having everything that I need right here, ready to go, me going out, making things happen, and you just seeing me work really hard in order to transform the current state of our lives into something miraculous, or me being honest with you and letting you know that I have absolutely nothing, and you actually will see that I have nothing. And I'm not out here begging and borrowing, but you're watching God bring things together. I think that's going to provide more hope for those of you who really need it. Because I know there are some of you out there that are in desperate situations and you have nobody to turn to. You have nowhere to go. You don't know what it is you're going to do. You're trying to figure things out and you've been chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing. Some of you are ex-felons, have gotten out of prison and you're trying to find your way so that you don't end up back in that same situation. Some of you have just come from troubled backgrounds, have had terrible jobs, worked for terrible bosses, been around terrible people, running the streets, whatever it is. I am here as an example. I am going to be your testimony, right, as to what it is that God is capable of doing. So I'm willingly obeying God in this situation. I'm not choosing to do some random thing. I am willingly obeying God in this situation. And I'm going to go through this journey with him and him alone. And you're going to see that he not only has me, but he has you too. And that I'm here for you as much as you're going to be here for me. So it doesn't matter if at the end of this, we only end up with one subscriber, one person who watched the videos. I just want you to know, brother or sister, this was all for you. All right. And that you're in my heart and I carry you with me every day. So on the strength of God, not on my strength, on the strength of God, we're going to keep pursuing it and make sure we make this thing happen. Another point I want to mention that my wife talked about earlier was just the fact that I also don't want you to feel that when God calls you out to something, that there's going to be an absence of feeling. Right? That your faith is going to automatically create an absence of feeling. That's not the case at all. I'm not going to call it depression because I don't feel like I got stuck in a spot. But let's just say I've been depressed, which I ended up calling it that anyway, didn't I? I've had my feelings hurt already. I've been the most vulnerable that I have ever been in my life. Even post prison, I've been so super vulnerable. in ways where I'm needing help and not knowing how to say it. Not having people to ask the way for the type of help that I need. So I don't want you to feel like you're never going to be sad if God called you out to something. For some of you, he will call you out to something and everything will just be lined up and it'll work out and it'll be great. And maybe you, my audience, maybe you're not. But for those that he sent me out to show, I know that there's similar situations. You're going to hear similar situations in my story. And it's going to give you hope. I know it's going to give you hope. I have no doubt that all of this is going to work out exactly the way that it's supposed to be. I have no doubt that you're going to see everything that you need to see in order for you to walk that walk out with God. But I don't want you to feel like there will be no more pain. All right. I don't want you to be in that spot, but I don't want the pain to cause you to seek that momentary comfort. Because logic speaks to me right now and says, bruh, this ain't God. Go get you a job, figure it out. Do what you know you can do to make sure you provide for your family. But then what happens? I go get a job, I get money, I get comfortable working that job. Therefore, I have security in the fact that I'm able to pay the bills. That security creates complacency, and that complacency keeps me stuck in that spot forever. I know men, I know women who have worked for 30, 40, 50 years. And they're not fulfilled. They're tired. They're angry. They want out. They want something new. They want something different. And I feel like that's part of what God's doing in this situation. I just don't want you to get stuck on this stuff. Right. And that security and comfort that you would be creating were all manifested by your hands. Does God bless those situations? Yes. Don't get me wrong. But this is a situation where I feel like he's calling me away from having any reliance in my own ability, any comfort in my own skill or what it is that I'm able to produce. So that being said, long story short, that it's a faith walk. And I just want you to know what has gone on, what series of events have taken place. And the next video that you watch will be us still coming up with marketing material. You're going to be like, well, Josh, how are you going to get to the job? I don't know. But let's see what God does. And let's trust it. And so we're going to be creating the marketing material. If I got to walk and put them in mailboxes, I will. If I got to door knock, I will. But I have a feeling that something's going to work out and you're going to be able to witness it. So that's what I got. Until next time, I want all of you to stay prayed up and continue to trust wherever it is that you are and whatever it is that you're going through, and just understand that we're all going through this together. But love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. All right, I'm out.